Hello, 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 hello. This is episode number 80 with Truth Be Told podcast. I'm your host, Britt, and today, y'all, we have a good one. It is Friday morning. We have Karonna in the building today. We are talking about the importance of forgiveness. Woo!
Yes.
Yes. On
Good
this
morning, everybody.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I am so elated to have you on the podcast. Y'all, she has her own podcast as well. I love this community. We are definitely going to talk about your podcast. I want you to let us know the name, let us know what you're doing with your podcast, and tell us a little bit more about yourself before we get into the topic. Now, before we do get into the topic, guys, if you are new to this channel, please go like, share, and subscribe to both of our channels because she's definitely going to give you the digits on how to listen and get more jewels each and every morning with both of our podcasts. So let's go ahead and do this thing this morning. How you doing, boo?
I am amazing. How are you?
I'm blessed. We woke up this morning, right?
That part. Yes. I always say
Mm-hmm.
every day I wake up is a great day.
It is. It is. It's your mindset. It's waking up every morning just being grateful. Some people didn't wake up this morning, so we have a lot to be thankful for.
For sure.
Tell us a little bit more about you.
My name is Karonna Hosey. I currently reside in Atlanta, but I'm a Midwest girl. I'm from Ohio. I am the creator of the Blowing Bubbles podcast.
Woo!
And on the Blowing Bubbles podcast, I wanted to create a safe space for um, primarily mothers, but for anybody who felt overwhelmed and they didn't really know how to deal with the stresses of life. And I always tell people you cannot blow bubbles and be mad at the same time.
No.
So I'm just out here spreading love and bubbles. I literally travel the world giving away bubbles and smiling
I
at people.
love it. I love it. I love how you're serving. I think that's what it's all about, us finding our purpose and serving in life. Sometimes we think it's all about us, and it's really not all about us. It's bigger than us.
So much.
So, yes, it's so much. We're just a little person on this big, big earth. And I'm just so grateful that two like minded women are on here and just serving and being able to give people some safe places to go where they feel sometimes, with mental health, this is mental health month. We're still in May, and a lot of people deal with this on a day-to-day basis. And so just getting up every day, just getting out the bed every day is sometimes a
Absolutely.
struggle. So I commend you. I commend you on blowing bubbles.
Happy.
But today I really wanted to talk about, y'all know it's Friday. Thank God. Thank God it is Friday. TGIF Friday.
Woo-hoo.
Woo hoo. Like sometimes the week can just get by. It sometimes, depending on what you're going through in life, it's hard, it's a struggle just to go every and each day. And I thought this topic would be so fitting for the month of May. The topic is called The Importance of Forgiveness. And I really wanted to talk about that because I feel like a lot of people are struggling with forgiving most importantly themselves, and also forgiving others who have done them wrong. I want to talk a little bit more about the importance of forgiveness. But before we go into that, can you give me a definition? When you think of the word forgiveness, what would be your definition of forgiveness?
If I could sum it up in one word, I would say a release.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You hit that dead on the nail. I just knew you was about to come with some big old paragraph and
It's really that simple. I am so in this space right now in my life. The last few years I've been truly doing the work because I had so many things that had a stronghold on me
Mhm,
because of unforgiveness.
mhm.
And forgiveness is truly for you. And I have it. I wish I could show you my whiteboard right now. I have big bold letters on my whiteboard that I wrote to myself so I never forget it. Love yourself enough to forgive everyone who hurt you.
Yes, it is so
It's a
important.
release for you. You're
Mhm.
carrying the weight. Those people who hurt you, if they ever acknowledge it or not, they're going on with their lives. You have to love yourself enough to forgive.
Mhm.
So,
I love it, and I think that's where you start. I think it's about being self-aware where you are in your journey of healing.
mhm,
I'm in this space too, and I love it. I love it because I'm learning so much about me. I'm learning different layers, and they're just peeling back. And when you do this work, when you do this inner healing, because truth be told, podcast we talk about mental health, we talk about healing the inner child, we also have real life conversations. And so when you're in this headspace, and for me, it's really been going on since my father he hasn't been with us. It's been 16 years.
mhm,
He passed away in 2018. And I was harboring a lot of unforgiveness,
mhm,
a lot of anger, a lot of malice whenever he passed away because things weren't done right. I had a stepmom, and you know how that can go sometimes. And so it didn't go the way I felt like it should have went. And now that I'm a bonus mom and I can relate to some of the things that my stepmom went through, sometimes I'm puzzled because I'm always like, well, where was God in the midst of all of this? What was going on? But I don't harbor any ill feelings towards her anymore. I had to really self-evaluate where I was in life because what I realized was it wasn't her that I was mad at or I couldn't forgive. It was the spirit that was in
mhm.
her. So let's talk a little bit more about that spirit because people sometimes they think that it's that person. Can
You
you
picked me
give
for this topic. I'm blown away because you are like all up in my business right now. I mean, like, how did you pick me? This is, I mean, literally so many things. Yesterday was the anniversary of my fiance passing.
sorry to hear that?
And as I said, fiance.
Mhm.
So when I tell you that I was treated like I was so insignificant, like a whole non-factor by the family after all the years that we had together. And so I had so much forgiving to do for a whole group of people
Mhm.
for how I was treated. Um, I couldn't even properly mourn in the moment because of the stuff that was happening leading up to the funeral. So there's that, and there's the daddy issue. I mean, so many things you just said. I literally wrote a book talking about all of my experiences because I was carrying so many things that I thought I had dealt with. And really, the book is called Residue because it left a residue in my life that
Right.
I thought I was good, but I really was not underneath. And learning to, and I'm always smiling.
Mhm.
So it was a superficial good, but I was not good for real. So learning to open up first to myself, truly looking in the mirror and saying, Karonna, what do you need to work on? What do you continue to do that does not serve you? What can you help? What can you not help? Knowing that's one of the problems that I had was knowing, acknowledging the things that's really out of your control. So you can't help it, you can't fix it. Move on from that. So you're really touching my nerve. We only 3 minutes in, girl. I'm like, how did you
Oh, it's crazy because I just thought of this topic last night. God brung it to me.
He
God
gave
brought
it
it
to
to me.
you.
I had a totally different topic that I wanted to talk to you about, and then I switched. Like I switched right before I text you. I was like, this is what we're gonna talk about. This is what we're gonna talk about. Because like
Buddy,
my
you buddy.
because I really do. I believe that God has divine connections.
Absolutely.
And I feel like he knows what we need. Sometimes he knows, no, sometimes, all the time. He knows what we need when we don't know what we need. And so this is for you and me, because when I tell you I am in the middle of it right now, I'm in the thick of it too. And so it's just pulling back those layers. Let's talk a little bit more about residue. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations
Ooh,
on
listen, I
using
just
your
a few days ago I got my proof copy.
yay.
So it's residue growing from crushed to crushing it.
Okay.
And I took a trip to Florida January of 2023 for a funeral, but I stayed a few extra days afterwards to just relax. I spent the last 2 days in the ocean. Now I'm a whole neat freak, right? When I come home from any trip, I immediately unpack my suitcase and put everything wherever it's supposed to go. This particular trip, I was so tired from swimming in the ocean those last 2 days that I didn't have energy for that suitcase. So I just left it at the foot of my bed. The next morning, when I got up to go to the bathroom, normally it's my house. I can walk blindly. Really, I tripped over that suitcase. I get to the bathroom and I just sat down and bust out laughing. I said, "Oh my God, Karonna, what other bags are you tripping over?" And just like that, it hit me. It was like my brain could open to receive the downloads. God had been trying to get through my thick skull for so long. And I wrote chapter 1 that day. And I didn't know it was going to be called Residue. I was trying to write a song, Residue. I write lyrics as well.
Oh wow.
And couldn't finish the song. And usually it take me, minutes to write a song once I have a beat. I could not finish that song because I wasn't supposed to.
Right.
I was supposed to write the book, but the book takes you through a journey of my life, reflecting on key incidents that still had an impact on me. All kinds of things like, why do I keep attracting the same man, the same man, like the same, even though it's a different face, a different body, but the same stuff. And I'm like, I had to look at that. It was my daddy. I was the things that were in my father. I was drawn to that. Just patterns that I had, my mouth. I had to check myself with my own mouth. Like,
Me too.
why do you keep doing that? Because that's what was done to you.
Right.
Just different things. And I had to be very, very honest with me. And it took me, when I wrote chapter 1, I couldn't touch it for 3 months because I was wiped out. I was emotionally spent. But it helped me tremendously to get over that hurdle because it was at least 4 decades old injury, emotional injury. And there were so many things that had never been spoken. I had to talk to my children about some very hard things. Like, their dad almost killed me. They didn't know.
Yeah.
I had to talk to them about that. Hey, I put something in a book. I think I need to talk to you about it before it comes out.
Before it comes out. Yeah.
So it forced me to have those hard conversations with my family, with myself, to really face it. Because time passed, that didn't mean that I actually dealt with it. So that's residue. I was good, but there was still that little, stuff that was, kind of clouding my life. And it was keeping me from being my highest and best self. So now I'm in my story line of crushing it. And that does not mean that everything is perfect, that
Right.
I get my way. It just means that now I am more emotionally and spiritually equipped to deal with any and everything that comes my way. And through it all, I will never stop praising God.
Oh
That's it.
yes.
That's
Every
it. Because there was
day.
a period I was mad at God. When my man
Mhm.
passed, I didn't want to hear nothing about to or from God. I quit going to
Right.
church. I was angry in my hurt. And it was almost 2 years later. I'm sitting down to eat and I started to bless my food because I couldn't eat without blessing my food. And I heard an audible voice say, "Who are you praying to?"
Stopped you dead in your tracks.
Dead in my tracks. And in
Yeah.
that moment, I came back to myself like, okay, I've been having a 2-year tantrum. Let me get myself together. Because God
No,
understands hurt. He understands the
right.
hurt, understands the anger even. But I didn't pass the Job test. I was mad. I was mad at God. So I'm back. I'm back. I
I
ain't never looked again.
I love it. You got to realize, and we both, that God is connected to the brokenhearted. So he's near and dear. He was right
Yes.
there beside you the
All
whole
the time.
time. The whole time we just and he knew you was mad at him. He was just waiting for you to come to him and say, "Okay, okay, you done? I'm here. I'm still here. I'm still here because he needs to use you as his vessel." So
Yeah.
that you can intercede for other people who don't
Yes.
know Christ or who don't know God or a higher spirit, whatever you believe in. And I believe in God and Jesus Christ. And I know that there are just evil and good spirits in the world. The world we live in is it's just so it's scary. And so you
It's
have to
so
have
true.
Yes, you have to have something higher than yourself to look forward in life because if you're getting up every day and like you said, you knew that you had to pull back those layers because you were mad, you were angry, you were upset with God because you still had that unforgiveness in your heart because of what they did to you whenever your fiance passed. And every right that you should have. It's crazy because when people die, people change. People switch up on you. I had to learn that too. When my father passed, my stepmama did a 360. Like I could have like literally killed her. Like in my head, this is why the mind is so powerful because I was ready to kill her. And I can say that with
Yes.
everything in me because it was just the thoughts that were running through me. Like, why are you trying to play me like this not my daddy? And he not no every other weekend type daddy. Like he was in my life like all the time. So let's don't play it. And then you're gonna try to switch it up. Like she tried to switch up everything when he passed. Like
Mm.
even his obituary. Girl, we get to the funeral and the whole obituary has changed to what we had already spoken to, the funeral home about it. And I was just looking like, okay, Bree, because I'm a Gemini. And yes. And so the other side was boiling. And I looked at her sister and she was like, oh no, we're gonna say something. I said, no, she said, you can talk because I was supposed to do the remarks. I said, I don't care if she says something or not. I'm getting up. And if I get up, she ain't gonna like me getting up. She ain't gonna like what I said. But when I got up and I talked, when I tell you God came over me, like you
Mm.
said, forgiveness is a release. And that's what it was. It was like God started working on me then. He
Woo.
started he started working on me then. Forgiveness will have you in a room with people you don't like. Forgiveness will have you in a room with people that you can pray for that you couldn't stand. You couldn't stand, like, I'm it's just so it's hitting me because I just feel everything that you're saying. I'm not making this about me. I want you to
Man.
let us know, how did you get over that hump? How are you on the other side? Anything that you can testify or give to the audience that are still struggling. And really, when I talk to people, they're like, I don't even see how you forgave her for that. Or you forgave him for that. What are some things that you could tell people that are still struggling with forgiveness, unforgiveness?
I had a long, long, long journey dealing with forgiveness well before that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was sexually abused as a child by someone that I ended up having to face at church.
Oh wow.
And it's in the book. I don't want to give too much of it away.
Okay,
I
okay.
never shared this story before. But having to face this man who stole my innocence, and before I had to forgive him before I faced him. that was the biggest thing because I couldn't maintain a healthy, intimate relationship as an adult. Couldn't stand to be touched. Everything reminded me of that. Um, so it was very, very hard as I got older trying to just enjoy adult intimacy.
Mhm.
So I had a long, long relationship with forgiveness. And then when I was like 20, having to forgive the father of my children.
Same here.
Um, and there was that. And it was not as difficult forgiving him because let me cite the Montel Williams show.
Okay.
He had an episode one time where he was talking to a mother who was very toxic to her children because she was bitter with her ex. And he said she had sons, and he said to her, "Let me tell you something. That man, those children see their reflection in that man. So when you tell those children he ain't ish, that's all they think about themselves. So watch what you say to your kids to and about their father." And that resonated with me. That sat with me. And I don't even remember if I had my sons yet. I think my daughter's the oldest. I think I had my daughter at the time, but it stuck with me. So when fast forward, when I went through that with him, I never wanted him to not be their hero. I never wanted him to be tarnished in their eyes. Um, while he was away, I would go to Toys R Us and mail toys to my house in their name, in his name. I would go out of my way to make sure that they adored their father. Because I wanted healthy children more than I wanted me to feel good about whatever. I couldn't even
Amen.
articulate it in that moment, but I knew that I had to sit my feelings aside and um, just hold my kids to a higher regard. So that at 20 years old prepared me for how 40 something when my guy passed. So the things like his family, that was all stuff. And I
Right.
knew and I believe wholeheartedly, touch not mine anointed and do my prophet no harm. I know God got his hand on my life. And
Yes.
anything you until you do right by me, everything you think about gonna fail. So
Hey.
I wasn't even worried about the stuff per
Mhm.
se that they were, people get funny when there's money involved.
Oh yeah. Oh girl, yes. Let's not go there either.
So I wasn't at all worried about the stuff, although I was hurt because I did lose
Right.
everything. Um, I had to reserve my fight to just keep breathing. If breathing was not an involuntary response, I would have suffocated because I just every time my heart beat, it felt like I was being stabbed in it. It just hurt so bad. So I had to just pour all of my energy into just living another day and another day and another day. But the true forgiveness has been a lifelong journey for me because I've been hurt by others for so long. And then when I realized that it was only hurting me because that wasn't when I saw that man at church that day, that was not my first time seeing him.
Mhm.
And it was actually at my children's school.
Oh
I
wow.
saw this man and I stepped to him in a very confrontational manner. Um, he did not even know me. He did not even knowing me, and I'm trying to not make a scene because we were at an assembly,
Right.
and I had to deal with that then, and that's when I realized these fools go on with their lives.
Mhm.
They go on with their lives, and you've been carrying this. You can't sleep. You can't enjoy the love of your life. You can't. He doesn't care. So before I even saw him the next time to face him like straight up, I'm gonna corner him. I'm not gonna let him walk away from me this time and not acknowledge me. I had already forgiven in my heart.
Mhm.
So in that time at church, I didn't have to open my mouth. I just looked at him and he broke down crying.
Oh wow.
Yep. I'm so sorry. I know.
Yeah, I know. That was
So
God.
it was God. It was God. I didn't and my mother had been telling me all my life, to the pen is mightier than the sword was one thing she would tell me, and you got to let God fight your battles because I am a natural fighter.
Yes.
Like you can get two piece no biscuit for real, for real. And and, and I would always say that I'm a warrior by nature. I'm a warrior, and guess what? I was always finding myself at war. So
Right.
I was not acknowledging the power of my tongue because I was speaking that over my life. Like I'm a warrior. Yep, you stay fighting,
Yep.
stay
Yep.
fighting. So once I stopped and started letting God like truly have those things, whatever those things were, man, my load got so much lighter. And it seems simple, but it really is simple. Like you do not want God to go to battle for me because he loved him some me.
I know that's right.
Love him for me. So that's what I really, once I really started to see, like, oh snap, he like literally shook their lives upside down, and I didn't have to have anything to do with it. Okay, let me let him handle this next thing. Let me handle the next thing, and literally, it just became me being mature, more mature in Christ, to say I don't have to do anything. And he most often lets me see the lashing of whomever like violated me.
I love
So
it. I love it. I love how he's using you. He knew that at the beginning of time when you went through what you went through at a younger age and being, molested and going through that, he prepared you then for what you went through a couple years ago and probably will continue to still go through because on this earth we're gonna suffer. And it's just I think that for us it's just knowing like that there is somebody else that is doing the fighting, like you said, being the warrior for us, fighting our battles because the battlefield is most of the time in our mind. um like
yes,
you like you said, he went on about his life, or they done went on about their life. They ain't thinking about us. You could be in the shower, sit up here just so mad in your mind, just fighting that person, and then you get out the shower, and then you like, what? Well, was I fighting them or was I fighting me?
yes,
And it makes you look at your life and the things that you consume, and what you're looking at every day, as far as making you realize that forgiveness, like you said, is about you. And a lot of people get forgiveness and reconciliation. It's different. It's two different
two
things.
different, two different animals. Woo.
talk talk
I
about that a
forgive
little
you
bit.
over there. Over you say,
Yes, I forgive you. I forgive, but I don't want to be your friend. Like
you're not gonna ever be we again, boo. I forgive you. I even love you with godly love, but over there,
over there, yes,
over there,
because I mean, you know when you're getting played. I'm sorry, like
yes,
yes,
forgiveness does not equate access. You do
no,
not have to allow someone back into your life, especially when you know they haven't changed. When
yeah,
you know there's no real remorse. Like, okay, let me use this as an example: the Diddy apology video.
oh my gosh.
Sir, who are you apologizing to exactly?
Right. And then the people that's coming behind them too. I'm so tired of hearing it because I'm like, well, why wasn't y'all doing that at the beginning? It's really like no purpose of talking about it at this point. Like it just let it go. Like let it go and let it, because it's already out here. You've tarnished your reputation. The video, even before then, you paying them up front already showed that you was guilty.
Absolutely,
And now the
absolutely.
evidence is out, and now it's like, oh, okay, now I
So
got to
now
get
you're
on here and do an apology. I'm pretty sure you could take that apology and tough it, because that's something that she's gonna have to deal with the rest of her life.
forever.
forever. And when those triggers, and that's another thing I want to talk about, when those triggers come up for you, as far as you're not being able to forgive or any type of anger or malice in your heart, what is something that you could tell the audience that you do to just keep pressing forward?
Um, you're when you hold on to those things and you continue to allow yourself to be um to those old traumas to be reactivated, you steal your own joy. Like, I have so many instances of the sexual abuse, like just interfering with me having a healthy relationship. It's like, how do you know that you couldn't have run someone off because you can't stand to be touched?
Right. Yeah.
How do you know? Like, I look at things from a holistic perspective. Um, if you don't, and it might sound simple to say, just let it go. And it's not just let it go, but you have to do the work. Whatever it takes for you to let that thing go, just look at how it impacts you every time you're, for instance, I've been in a few car accidents and I was never driving when I was in the car accidents. So I have challenges riding in a car with somebody else.
Yeah.
You ride too close up on the car in front of us, you driving very fast, switching in and out of lanes, the anxiety takes over. I got my little driver's ed brake going on. I'm over here, it's a mess. And then I also had airplane anxiety. I travel a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. So I'm just driving myself crazy and building an ulcer and working my blood pressure up for no reason. Just finding that mental space where you can control how you react. So I have this affirmation that I started speaking to myself because I was going through turbulence on an airplane and I got so scared. I was probably getting ready to have a heart attack because I was up there freaking out. 30,000 feet in the air, can't do anything about it. So I started saying to myself, I am in control of my thoughts and words, my actions and reactions. The peace around me protects the peace within me. I'll let God be my peace around me, and then it calms everything in me. So I started saying that. And then, I would just ask God, calm the winds, calm the winds. It's just wind, but calm it. And he did. So last month I had a flight, horrible flight. So I thought for about 35 minutes, terrible turbulence. And I'm praying, I'm saying my affirmation. It's helping, but it's not. I'm still a little bit frazzled, right? I then prayed, and I'm talking out loud, right? I'm praying, God, you are in control of the winds and the waves. I need you to calm this wind down because we shaking a little bit too much. So can you calm it down? And he did. He did. And I thank God so much for that. Fast forward a week and a half later, I get back on an airplane. I have a flight from Atlanta to Las Vegas. It's like a 4-hour flight.
Mhm.
At least 3 of those hours, we had extreme turbulence. And I mean, I'm up there. I'm saying the
Going crazy.
affirmation. I'm praying to God, please calm the winds. He did not calm the winds. So, what lesson did I get out of that? Karonna, this is what I said to myself. Karonna, are you going to stop having faith because the winds are raging? Or are you just going to step out that boat and keep walking toward Jesus?
Ooh.
You're
Ooh.
not going to always get your way right away. But are you going to let your faith shake? Or you just going to sit there steadfast and knowing God got me? I don't care what this plane does.
I know that's right.
And that's when I think I elevated in my faith. So it's a faith walk with your forgiveness. So all of those things tied together for me. Having the faith to know that God got me, no matter what I feel, no matter what someone else does that may trigger a response in me, let the peace around you protect the peace within you.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. I needed to hear this morning on this Friday. This is amazing because you don't even realize that the journey that you're on, you're helping somebody. You're helping somebody, and you're in where you're at right now. God needs you to be right there because it's somebody that's behind you and
Yes.
that needs you to bring them along. That's what our purpose is to bring somebody along with us and to keep moving forward. And I commend you on everything that you're going through and that you've overcome. You're on the other side of the mountain. So
That's my word, overcome. When people ask me what's the main theme of my message, it's always overcoming. You can overcome anything.
yes,
Anything.
yes, you
I've been on my
can.
deathbed 3 times, and not just so I can stand up and say that. There is a whole purpose for my life. I still haven't quite uncovered all of it, but I know that my purpose is to serve the people, to help the people, and to show everybody else you can too.
Yeah,
I
you
don't care what
can.
you go through. I promise
That's
you can.
right.
As long as you don't give up, you can make it.
That's right. And if it's anything that you could say to 14-year-old you when you were little, what
Woo!
is it something that you would tell her today?
Speak up for yourself.
Ah. I love it. Use your voice.
Yes. I
Y'all.
allowed a lot of stuff to happen. Like I said, I was always a fighter. When I was like a toddler in daycare, the teachers, the daycare teachers, if they didn't like, if they had an issue with another little kid, they'd just put them in the corner with me, knowing that I was going to deal with them eventually. So I've been a fighter since I could stand up,
I
and
love
a physical fighter since I could stand up. And when I learned the power of my mental fight and my spiritual fight, when I learned how to swing my sword, that word of God, when I learned how
Oh,
to swing
yes.
that thing, I became spiritually, physically, and mentally invincible.
That's right. You said in his word and
Yes,
let him do the rest.
yes, yes.
Yep.
And
Yep.
sometimes you have to fight in the physical, not necessarily, this way, but you might have to intervene and before you can intercede for somebody
That's right.
spiritually. You might have to physically pick somebody up at a bus stop and take them to a safe place. You might have to feed someone. You might have to babysit somebody's child so that they can go to work so they don't lose their job, whatever the thing is. Um, and I didn't always have that fortitude. At 14 years old, my parents had split like the year or so before, and I was moved from Pennsylvania to Ohio. And now I don't have my family. I come from a very big, close knit family. And now I'm this new kid in the school, and nobody likes me just because.
Yeah. I understand.
And I let a lot of stuff slide. So 14-year-old Karonna is still one girl that rings in my head. And she hated me for no reason. And she was a big bully to me. And in my mind, I always knew if she put hands on me, she was going down. And I let this girl chump me off in the hallway of school all the time. And I don't know why. I just never spoke up for myself. And I think that first time that I let her get away with it triggered the next 2 years of me being bullied in the hallway. She never touched me now. Don't get it twisted. But 14-year-old Karonna let a lot of stuff go. And I never told my parents that I was dealing with this at school. And it was a lot of stuff in that phase of my life because of my home life being what it was, that 14-year-old Karonna did not speak up for herself. So I write about that in the book actually. Because
Tell
nobody
us where we can find your book.
it's going to be available everywhere. Right now it's pre-order on Kindle on Amazon, but not available. I don't know why they don't allow the pre-orders on the um, physical books yet. But residuebook.com is my website, and you can
Okay.
find its information on me and how to book me or where to um, order the book. The direct PDF will be available after June 17th from my website if you want to just order the PDF. I'm gonna make
Yes.
that available. So yeah, I do my podcast. I'm starting to do pre-recorded. I do live every Wednesday at 8:45 currently. So I'm always, and I don't talk about the book. I always have guests and I always talk about the guests. So this is refreshing to be able to talk about something that means so much to me and the people who've read. I just did a virtual book review and all of the people that read chapters in the book, it's unanimous. Like it's impactful and relatable.
I love it. I
Um,
love it. I'm definitely going to put your information in the description for whenever we can go ahead and get that book, Residue. I am so excited for you. I commend you guys. You can find her on social media. And let us know your handles on social media for your podcast so that we can follow, like, and share and subscribe to your podcast.
Thank you so much. Everything is Blowing Bubbles Podcast. And that's bubbles with an S. Blowing Bubbles Podcast. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. You can find me. And my hashtag is stay popping. So if you put in
Hey.
hashtag stay popping, you'll be able to find me. Um, but yeah,
Well, I
going
love it.
subscribe to that YouTube, please. I need to run those numbers up.
Me too, girl. Me too, y'all. Keep encouraging us. We sending the word to you every day. I'm so thankful to speak to you today about the importance of forgiveness, guys. Make sure you are self-checking yourself every day. Get a higher power within you. If you don't know him, find him because he is amazing. He will lead you and guide you. We are signing out with episode number 80 with Karonna with the importance of forgiveness, Blowing Bubbles podcast. You guys have a good morning.
Stay popping.